Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we're talking about the one and only ICP. Ladies and gentlemen, we are ranked currently 39 in the world out of the 9,496 active cryptos, which is absolutely fantastic. We're at $5.43, 2.9 billion market cap, and roughly 60 million volume. Not bad, especially it is the weekend. We can see from this crypto guy, he believes that we are in some type of shark pattern, right? Pretty much where there's multiple letters here, and this is D. Right now, he believes we are at D and that we will be heading to certain price targets. I know the writing is probably very small on the screen, so I'll try to explain it pretty well, but pretty much we can see that this is ICP's old price action at A. There's another letter up here, and then we're pretty much here at D, and he believes that we're going to be going probably at least to $14, maybe even up to 20. So, I'm not the only person that believes ICP is going to have some type of rally very, very soon. We could also see, ladies and gentlemen, when we go on Twitter, we can see that, from Bit Immortal, while other projects slow down, right? ICP just hit 40K plus monthly commits, all time high. We can see, right? Developer report. So it's been rising. It's been rising. So just a little nice observation, right? That is what we love to see. Ladies and gentlemen, when we go to the price action, for me, even though we've gone down the last couple of days, not much has truly changed. I will say this could be a potential momentum shift, right? Still towards the downside, because last time when we did sell off, I mean, every time we kind of sold off, right? We had a weak couple of days of price action, and then we continued to sell lower, right? Just the same way we did back in mid June. We started to sell off. Then, for roughly 3 days, we tried holding the price. We failed. We continued to sell off. We sold off in July of, or 20, well, July 2025, right? On the 23rd. Then the next couple of days, we tried to pull back. And then again, we just sold off further. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because this is a pretty big sell candle. So we have to monitor how the next few days will be. If they're going to be very, very weak, then we most likely will see a further drop. I ultimately do not think we should be dropping much, much further. Just in terms of pure technical analysis, in terms of the lows, right? We have a nice triple bottom over here, and we are continuously making higher and higher lows. We can see, right? We are making higher and higher lows at we had the lows pretty much at 460, then at 485, then at 511. So everything is looking really, really good. Now, if we close the weekly candle that we close, then again, it's going to be another higher low. Now, here's the deal, people. Sometimes the market does manipulate because before ICP shot up back in November, it had a similar type of structure going on where it kept creating higher and higher lows, right? We can see consistently, and it kept creating higher and higher highs, right? Higher and higher highs. And then eventually, right, it kind of broke to the downside, but it was just a fake out, right? It was just a few weeks of a fake out, and then it finally shot up. So we will be monitoring that just in case price action does fall over the next week or two, possibly lower. Now, I still believe that my bias is going to be correct that in August, we most likely will be going up to $7.20. If we don't, then it probably will happen in September. But I'm still super, super confident in my overall big general bias in the long term, right? I believe ultimately ICP has just been creating some type of floor for the last few months because it's looking to reverse. It's looking to make sure that this is going to bottom out and that this is going to be the bottom and that we won't ever come back to this price action until maybe next bear season. Okay. Everyone always says, when we go to multiple charts, I can literally probably click on anything. Let's say AKT, for example, right? When AKT was going sideways for many, many weeks in 2022, 2023, people were probably like, oh, well, this was such a good price to get in, right? And then but it's always hindsight for these people because when the same thing is happening, right? When the same thing is happening, when price is just going sideways and accumulating, a lot of people don't buy. They just wait for the pumps and the pumps and the pumps. But it's like, ladies and gentlemen, like, you know, the sideways movement is always like the final step before we start going up. And this is like the great discount zone. I mean, we can go to something else like ZBEC. ZBEC's the perfect example, right? ZBEC was literally going sideways from, we could see, mid June of last year, and it finally really exploded, let's just say in May. So almost, 10 to 11 months of pure sideways movement before it finally had the big rally. And now it's doing its own thing, right? But here's the deal, people. Like, a lot of people discounted this coin because of the price action. A lot of people in hindsight, they would say, well, oh, this was the most obvious plays. Like, yeah, like if you were buying on the lower half, right? If we measure this, right, if you more or less take from this to this, and it's like, oh yeah, if you were just buying on the lower half here, this would have been like the most obvious plays. But so many people say that after, right? And ICP is literally doing that right now in front of our eyes. So, you know, if you're someone that is super high in ICP and you're looking to be buying ICP, I'm not a financial advisor, right? But the thing is, just in terms of pure technical analysis and observation, right? If you're getting the price, I mean, even if you're getting on the higher end of $6, ultimately it's still going to be a good deal. But if you're getting it, let's say, of this whole range, 50% or lower, then you're really getting yourself a good discount. But just know time is ultimately limited, right? We probably have a max couple more weeks at most being down here. Okay. We do have, speculation of rate cuts happening in mid-September, which could be the catalyst. So, like I said, if things do get delayed, we might see another month of sideways movement before we really go up. But ultimately, right, like I said, the big picture is the same. We are just ranging. This is just the buying opportunity. This is just a dollar cost opportunity because what happens when price breaks up, right? Or not what happens if, what happens when price breaks up. You want a dollar cost average at, like in the pump. Why? You had months and months and months of sideways movement, of sideways price. So why get in once it pumps? It just doesn't make sense from a financial standpoint. A lot of people, don't know if you guys know this, they oversold Bitcoin at the literal bottom. And the second most Bitcoin was ever overbought was at 64K last cycle. So it just shows to you people's psychology is very, very backwards, right? But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, ultimately that is it. I still believe we are roughly in this type of zone, right? This is pretty much the same thing. And I do believe we will have our moments very, very soon to the upside. Like I said, I'm super high on this crypto. I do believe if everything went wrong, then we should probably just top out around 30 $32 to $36. If if we do have a normal type cycle, then you should see definitely ICP heading all the way upwards of $72, which once again, in terms of pure market cap that does support it, right? 10x is 29 billion, $54. So, it would be roughly 40 billion market cap, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, just to hit that $70, which I think is more than possible considering there's gonna be a lot more money this cycle. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys did enjoy. Love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.